Hello, everyone. Now, obviously, you've read the title of this video, so full disclosure here. I am 100% biased on all of the matters that involve Nintendo. I fucking despise them as a company. I think they are just about everything that is wrong with a company, especially in the video game development side. They are willing to abuse any singular loopholes that they can possibly find and punish everybody that they seem fit. Despite the fact that more often than not, all they're doing is punishing the people that love their fucking games and buy them every single time they come out. That baffles me, and I fucking despise Nintendo as a company, and most likely will probably never change my mind on that. And I'm not at all sorry for being biased on that. Fuck Nintendo. From the bottom of my heart, as a very, very long time gamer, fuck you, Nintendo. Fuck you.
I'm just gonna get this out of the way right now. My voice sounds like a chain smoker who swallowed a bag of rocks, and there's not much I can do about it. But there's something I really want to talk about today. Nobody hates Nintendo fans more than Nintendo themselves.
Yeah, and in all honesty, I really couldn't say that any better if I tried. Nintendo really does hate Nintendo fans more than anyone else in the fucking world. It seems like Nintendo has absolutely no care for whether or not their community and the fans of their games are well kept and whether they're happy. They do not give a fuck because they look at you like a fucking dollar sign. They know that they're the only real company that makes some of the games that they make anywhere close to the quality that they do. You really would be hard pressed to find anything that could really compete with a game such as Zelda or Mario or the absolute massive popularity of the Smash series or Nintendo party games. Like, they have an absolute monopoly on that market because they are, despite the fact that I hate the company, they are very, very high quality games and they are a lot of fucking fun. So Nintendo knows for a fact that the broader community of people are not going to stop buying their fucking games. They look at you as a fucking cash cow that they will milk as long as they possibly fucking can. And all along the way, they will treat you like the absolute fucking scum of the earth because they view themselves as above you. You are fucking nothing to them. And this is one of the main reasons why I cannot fucking stand Nintendo as a fucking game developer.
Grudge against people that like their products. They view them as enemies, like terrorists. How dare you enjoy our products this much that you're willing to make content or have tournaments around them? We're putting the kibosh on it. And that's exactly what they've done again to a massive YouTuber named Point Crow. Oh my god.
Good God, don't get me fucking started on the amount of times the Nintendo has just shit down the necks of every content creator that has nothing but good fucking things to say about Nintendo. Like, these people love Nintendo games so much that they've built their entire careers as gaming content creators around Nintendo specific games. Like, it is so wild to me that Nintendo will it feels like they absolutely just go out of their way. Like, they have an entire fucking team of people just dedicated to scrolling through YouTube, Twitch, or any type of modding forums or databases to go ahead and just fucking absolutely bend over anybody who is daring to make YouTube videos or mods for their fucking games. They absolutely have a zero tolerance policy for any of those heinous crimes that you could possibly commit. I can't fucking stand Nintendo. There is just a laundry list of the amount of times that they have done this exact thing. I kind of know the Point Crow controversy right now. As far as I'm aware, Point Crow is, again, essentially a Nintendo based gaming content creator who does a lot of, I guess, challenge videos, essentially, where they will take, say, like the newest Zelda game, mod something about it to make it, more difficult, or do some wild, crazy shit with it and then play through the game. It's just such common practice anymore. I can't believe that we're still trying to fight modders as game developers. Like, I thought that battle was long fucking lost. You're doing nothing but hurting your community and hurting your future game sales by telling modders they cannot create free content to add on to your game or fix issues that you as a company refuse to address. There are modders that are literally doing your jobs for you, and Nintendo is sitting there like, nah, you're not allowed. We will sue you. It's so fucking stupid. But apparently, Point Crow has got this like cease and desist and copyright strikes essentially put on his channel because he dared to make content that revolved around Nintendo games. Clearly, capital offense. Like, there's absolutely guilty. Just throw him to fucking prison for the rest of his life. Shut the fucking door. Never will he be seen again. So fucking ridiculous.
What the fuck? Nintendo even sent an assassin after me with IO here with that jump scare. Jesus.
You joke, but I wouldn't fucking put it past Nintendo. In all honesty, they might have somebody watching you right now because you're daring to speak ill of their company.
That was terrifying. It's good to see you though, IO. You heard me talking about Nintendo and just wanted to come in and chime in on how shitty they are. I respect it. Yesterday, Point Crow posted this video where he talked about how Nintendo is not only taking down a ton of his content, mainly Breath of the Wild, but also striking his channel for it. For those that don't know, there's a couple different levels of severity here, a couple different DEFCONs you can go through on YouTube, where one of them is a video gets claimed by someone, which means they then take all of the AdSense. Another level is they block it and take it down, but you don't get a strike, you just no longer have the video up. And then the third most extreme level, this is when the air raid sirens are sounding, going nuclear, striking a channel, which takes down the video and issues a strike to the channel, which is debilitating. And if you get 3 strikes, you lose your whole channel, it just fucking vanishes.
Can we also take a moment here just to bask in how fucking absolutely ridiculous it is that YouTube has been the platform that it is for years now, and we are still, as content creators, constantly under the threat of possibly getting our channels completely removed because the whim of some fucking massive company such as Nintendo. I've seen it happen to people on YouTube by Nintendo before. It's one of the reasons I fucking hate them so much. Like, I genuinely feel bad for people who YouTube and YouTube content is their main source of income. Like, they actually have this as their primary job, and they could just wake up one day because Nintendo decided to go on a fucking copyright spree to find that their channel has been removed entirely from YouTube, just without a fucking trace, overnight. Why? Because Nintendo, for one, doesn't even understand how the fuck copyright law works. Because guess what? Making content, making YouTube videos over your game is not something you can copyright. You can't, it's completely transformative. Like, the best argument you could possibly have is possibly games that are absolutely no commentary and just get played through all the way with no personality involved whatsoever, no real like editing, no memes thrown in, no nothing. It's just the gameplay from start to finish. Like, that is your best shot at calling copyright, and even that would be really, really hard fucking stretched. But the idea that people like Point Crow here, who are actively adding their own personality to videos and creating this, like, creating a different feeling when it's them, when you're watching them play through the game, than what you experience just playing through a game as a single player individual. And the fact that this person mods and does challenges over the game. So it's not even entirely your game anymore. It is a combination of your game mixed with code that you have absolutely no ownership or right to. And you're trying to say that that's copyrightable, that you can just strike down a person's channel for that? Fucking ridiculous, Nintendo. And they know they can get away with it too. That's why they do this. Because in the grand scheme of things, if you or I, as YouTubers, we copyright strike a channel, there can be some actual like legal consequences to false copyright striking, right? But for somebody like Nintendo, there will never ever be consequences. And that's part of the problem. Like, YouTube at some point should just realize that Nintendo does this just randomly throughout the year, will go on mass copyright sprees. So I really don't understand why YouTube even allows copyright strikes from Nintendo, why they're even allowed. Like, it shouldn't be an automated system for Nintendo anymore. They should actually have to be examined by an actual human, because clearly Nintendo just abuses the fuck out of the already broken ass system that YouTube has in place. Along with that, Nintendo needs sued, in my opinion. Nintendo needs, like, not a slap on the wrist sue either. They need just fucking cheeks clapped by somebody in the content creation community for these false copyright strikes that they fucking throw out like candy some days just because they just felt like it. I just genuinely hope that someday Nintendo gets just fucking destroyed by some content creator like that has a really good legal team behind them. That way they can just fucking never be able to do this bullshit again. They'll actually have to think twice before they just start handing out copyright strikes. They'll have to think, hey, maybe we can't afford this $1 million+ lawsuit that will happen if we do this, just because somebody's making fucking content of them playing our games. Which, by the way, if people are making content over your game, that's just a win-win for you. That's kind of been like a thing that game developers and content creators have had an unspoken agreement about for fucking ever now, since damn near the creation of YouTube. Because all it does is give your games free publicity. It gives your games more of a selling chance without you having to do anything. You're not paying these people. They're not employees of yours. You don't have to do anything but release the game, and then people play it, whether it's streaming it on Twitch or other platforms that are currently up, whether they make TikTok videos of it, YouTube videos, whatever. Your game then gets more viewership. More people will be interested in playing your game because they see other people having fun with it. So they decide, you know what? I was kind of on the fence about this, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go ahead and buy this game. Like, what delusional mindset does Nintendo have that they think they can copyright strike because they're losing money? Where are you losing money at, Nintendo? Where? Where are you losing money by this person creating content and free publicity for your games? I'd love to know the rationale behind this.
And this is usually supposed to be reserved for the most egregious of offenses, just severe violations of the rules, like you're trying to punish Dirty Dan for getting a little crazy on the platform. Then that's when the strikes were supposed to be used. It's because it's basically like capital punishment here on the platform. But Nintendo uses this willy-nilly. They're very loosey-goosey with issuing strikes. This is their first strategy. They don't reach out or try to play nice. They immediately just start rolling around in the pig pen and spitting and shitting on anyone who's covered their content, it seems.
And that right there is a perfect example of why I hate Nintendo more than any other company that does this, because Nintendo is not alone in doing things like this. All right, we've seen it before from other game developers, albeit a lot less frequently than what Nintendo is in the news for doing it for. But Nintendo, at no point do they ever try and reach out to content creators. They never try and, put out like, hey, could you, remove your videos of our video game? We would really prefer you to stop making content over our video games. They never do that. They just immediately go for the fucking jugular every time. They immediately just throw out copyright strikes, get your channel fucking deleted, and your, for a lot of people, main source of income just dried up immediately. And it's honestly kind of sickening that a company is not only willing, but perfectly able to do this without any form of repercussions.
They throw out more strikes than a professional bowler, and that's exactly what they've done to Point Crow. They've issued 2 strikes on his channel. I'm going to play portions of his video here where he talks about it more in detail, but it's so fucked up. Nintendo is such a scummy company. I cover all of their L's because I love their products, but I hate their company. I think they're still learning what an email is. They don't know what video content even means. The internet is this mysterious boogeyman to them. They don't fucking get it. They're out of touch, they're delusional, and it shows. They do this so often, and they've done this for as long as the internet's been around. Even back during the dial up era, I'm pretty sure Nintendo would have tried to lobby against the internet's creation in the first place. They view it as an evil tool used by the devil because it showcases their games. It makes me fucking angry. And they've done it once again.
This is where I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you, actually. You paint the picture of Nintendo doing this and thinking that they're in the right, like legally and morally. They think that they have the ability to do this because that's what they should do, because they don't understand. They don't understand the internet. They don't understand video content. They don't understand copyright law. I would disagree. I think that Nintendo knows exactly what Nintendo is fucking doing. I think Nintendo is all too aware of how they come across. I think they are completely aware of how their decisions, like issuing these copyright strikes, affect people and how it makes them seem in the public eye. And I just don't think that they fucking care. I think it's even worse. I think it's worse when they are fully aware of all the damage they cause. They are fully aware that they're seen as these evil, fucking horrible people. And then they just say, shut the fuck up, buy our games anyway. We don't care what your opinion of us is. We don't care if we ruin people's lives. We don't care about any of that. All we care about is that you buy the next fucking Smash Bros. All we care about is that you buy the next fucking Mario Party. Buy the next fucking Zelda game. Buy our new fucking handheld console. That's all they fucking care about. Which brings up the question, why do they even care that people make content out of their games? Why do people, like, I've even seen different review channels get hit with claims when things like the Switch come out. They just will copyright claim a review video on their product. That's not even remotely within the realm of being copyrightable. You cannot say that people cannot make review videos because it shows your fucking game system. That's not how any of that works, but they don't care. They just don't care. And I personally think that makes them more fucking disgusting.
Listen to what I have to say and consider reversing the decision to claim these videos. I make videos playing games, sometimes in strange ways. But for today, it's important for you to know that on occasion, I modify the games I play and explore what happens when the game mechanics are a little different.
No, it isn't. It doesn't matter in the slightest if you've been modding your games. It does not matter. It is 100% completely legal to modify your game once you have purchased it. If you are not selling it online or somehow making money off of it directly, say like, again, selling the mod, then you're completely within legal rights to modify your game. It is your product. This has been established several times over, all the way back to, if I remember correctly, it was one of the iPhones back when jailbreaking was still this massive thing, and Apple tried to sue people for jailbreaking their phones, and the courts decided time and time again that once they purchased the product, they were allowed to put on whatever operating system they so chose to do. It's the same concept with modding games. We have seen several game developers attempt to sue people for modding games, and I have personally not seen one that has been successful unless there was some type of selling of the mods, or more so like ports to say, like, I know Nintendo not too long ago sued somebody who was bringing the Super Mario 64 to the PC, and they were sued. I'm pretty sure that Nintendo won that because they can argue that there's a possible loss of sales because that game didn't already exist on that platform. So if they were to ever make that game on that platform and port it over themselves, then they couldn't sell as many copies because this person has already done that and released it for free. So unless you're doing any of those things, you're completely within your legal rights to do whatever the fuck you want with your fucking game. So it absolutely does not matter whether or not you mod it. Nintendo can get fucked. This is something that's already been established in the courts. Please do not let them come after you just because you mod the game. That's not something that they can do.
I have never encouraged piracy of Nintendo's games. The mods that I've commissioned are not being sold, and all of the code is custom, meaning that they are free of Nintendo assets.
Point Crow explains that the purpose of the video is to hopefully get Nintendo's attention to the issue and reverse their decision. Something Nintendo's never done in the entire fucking company's history, I'm pretty sure. I don't think they've ever listened to anyone ever, not even like their own kids. Like there is no one Nintendo listens to, and I don't think they've ever walked back a decision ever. If they even loosely heard from the community, Nintendo Online wouldn't be such an embarrassing pile of dog shit that you have to pay for, which is still just an absolute war crime to even be charging for how bad that service is. But anyway, I'd love to be wrong here and someone at Nintendo actually has internet access and watches this video and has a heart like, oh wow, yeah, maybe this was overkill. But I just don't see that happening, though I would, again, love to be pleasantly surprised. Point Crow lays out that he makes videos and does a lot of content on Nintendo games, and in some of that content he mods them. He modifies the games to be goofier and the content is fire. So he needed to explain that when he modifies the games, he's not encouraging piracy, he's not stealing anything from Nintendo, it's all custom, and it is in line with their own content policy that they themselves published.
Yeah, you'd be asking for a lot for Nintendo to roll back any decision they've ever made about anything. Nintendo's like that one person that we all know that even when you know they're wrong and you can prove they're wrong, like they can say that 2 + 2 = 8, and you will sit there with a calculator showing them that 2 + 2 = 4, and they will just continue to say, no, it's actually 8. And here's why. They will just continue to believe they are right. They're not capable of thinking they've ever made a mistake, I don't think. But regardless, like I said earlier, modding is 100% legal and okay. There is nothing Nintendo can do if you are just modding the game and introducing your own code into their game if it's just yours. If you have bought this game and you introduce new code to it and you are not selling that mod, they cannot do anything to you. That is why the modding community is so large still. Otherwise, the amount of companies that would be suing every single mod creator that's ever existed, like the modding scene would have died years ago if we didn't have these protections. Because other companies, other development teams have tried and they have fucking failed. Just like Nintendo themselves have tried and failed. Now, I don't understand how Nintendo could possibly. I get that you're just trying to cover your bases and say, hey, I'm not doing this, this, or that, right? I get that. But I don't. There's no way in hell that Nintendo could ever gather from your content of modding their games that you have legally paid for and somehow misconstrue that to you promoting piracy. Like, unless you have outright said that you support pirating Nintendo games and hey guys, you should go out and just go to whatever fucking pirate websites are still available at this point and be like, hey, download these games from this source. There's no argument. There's no grounds for them to be able to say that that's what you're doing. You're just modding their games. That has nothing to do with piracy. But like I said, I understand you're just trying to cover your bases in the hopes that Nintendo can see this video and be like, hey, yeah, we fucked up. You're not doing anything wrong. But as was already established, Nintendo has apparently put out their own terms of service, their own guidelines to things like this. And apparently you're within them, and they still don't care. They're not going to follow their own guidelines. So it's not like it really fucking matters, does it?
On April 6th, 1 week ago, Nintendo decided to block all 4 videos that I put up on YouTube playing the multiplayer mod. I appealed their decision, as I'm very much in line with their content guideline policies. We'll go over that in a moment. Nintendo then escalated and issued a copyright strike against my YouTube channel. Not once, but twice. Rather than bundle the videos all into one copyright strike, Nintendo issued a copyright strike for one video and then bundled the other 3 into another strike.
That's deliberately evil. That's malicious. They could have bundled them all together for one strike, which would have still been an absolute load of fucking horseradish, but they decided to go even a step further to the dark side and divide them in order to issue multiple strikes. That's so fucked up, but a very classic Nintendo move. Just another huge L from this company.
Of course they did. Of fucking course they did it that way. Honestly, I can't say anything other than I'm actually surprised. I'm surprised that Nintendo was that kind-hearted to you. I'm surprised that Nintendo didn't go ahead and just individually copyright strike every single video and make it so that you have a laundry list of copyright strikes on your channel, and your channel just disappears without any warning. I am genuinely surprised that that isn't what happened, because, as already stated, it's pretty obvious that this was intentional, and it's pretty obvious, at least to me, that Nintendo knows exactly what they're doing. They know this system. They know how to best abuse it, essentially. It's not that they care enough to learn the system to avoid possible wrongful use. It's they have studied it so well in order to abuse it. Fucking disgusting.
Deliberately putting my channel in danger, but not taking it down completely. I was able to get an email address for Nintendo and sent a message asking that we discuss what's going on and try to reach an amicable resolution that would make both parties happy. I heard nothing back so far. Here's that email if you would like to read it.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure Nintendo has cobwebs on their email address. I don't think they know how to log in. Maybe they forgot the password. Maybe they just forgot it existed. Point Crow does have a legal team giving him advice here, and I think he's handling it in all of the right ways, but Nintendo is just completely unresponsive to anything from anybody. Like, you could actually have fucking Joe Biden send them some kind of presidential message or whatever, and if it doesn't get there by carrier pigeon, they're not getting it regardless. Again, I've said this before, but you would have better luck reaching Nintendo if you wrote your message on a rock and threw it outside of your window right now. They'd stand a better chance of seeing that than anything else, like a fucking email or anything. They truly just don't give a shit.
Although I do agree that I think he is handling it in the best way that he possibly can by securing himself a legal team and reaching out to Nintendo directly. But my issue lies within YouTube at that point. Like, yes, we already know, we can preach all day that Nintendo is this horrible, scummy fucking company that will abuse things like copyright strikes all day long, but the issue doesn't matter when YouTube allows them to, and there is absolutely no fucking protection for the content creators that it has. YouTube essentially allows Nintendo to have access and abuse this system that they have in place, but YouTube has absolutely no way, no physical way for you to remedy the situation. They have no way for you to, I mean, you can try and appeal, but YouTube isn't going to side one way or the other when it's an issue like this. I guarantee it. When you have an issue that is a massive company like Nintendo saying, hey, these are all copyright violations, YouTube's just going to throw their hands up and say, well, you guys figure it out in court. Not our problem. Because there's no protection for content creators. None. And that is a massive failure on YouTube's end. Like I said earlier, YouTube should be manually reviewing every Nintendo strike at this point, because Nintendo is known to just throw these out and they're completely false. For the most part, they always get overturned eventually, or people just continue to go back and create their Nintendo based content and never hear from Nintendo again, or at least get some quiet from them for at least a year or two before Nintendo goes on another fucking copyright spree. But the issue is that the only way for anybody to appeal this issue is that to send it up to YouTube, who is also absolutely fucking horrible at responding to anybody about anything. You can send it up to YouTube and hope that somebody there will look through the video and see, yeah, I see no examples of any examples of copyright infringement. That's your only hope, is that somebody at YouTube has a fucking brain cell. And if that's your only fucking saving grace, then my friend, you are just shit out of luck. I'm sorry.
So the next day, Nintendo claimed 24 more of my videos.
I'm fucking sorry. What? They went through and copyrighted 24 other fucking videos? How in the world? Like, what is the fucking justification for this? I know for a fact Nintendo doesn't have any. They don't have a fucking leg to stand on. They very, very rarely fucking do. But again, this is just a prime example of not only just Nintendo being this terrible, fucking horrendous company that, if their games weren't so fucking good, I would just completely wish would die out entirely. Unfortunately, we all have to admit that Nintendo's games are good, but the fucking company is dog shit. But this is not only an example of them being a horrendous fucking company with absolutely no moral code whatsoever. This is a perfect example, as I've already stated, of YouTube being a failure at protecting or helping the content creators that call their platform home. And I understand you can't be there to legally defend every single person that's ever going to have any copyright issues that's on YouTube. The platform is just too big for that to be a realistic thing. But the fact that a massive company like this can go through and claim what you said, 24 more videos along with the 4 that they initially claimed, so 28 videos in total. The fact that YouTube has no way of helping you, that YouTube most likely is not going to take a stand with you, even though your content is completely within fair use, it's ridiculous. It shows that YouTube also does not care about you. So now we have 2 companies that just don't give a fuck. And you, the little content creator in between these 2 industry fucking titans, you have to battle it out between those 2. Like, best of fucking luck to you. This is why the system is fucking broken and it needs fixed. It needs something done to help prevent these type of issues that are far more common than they realistically fucking should be. Also, you can't tell me that that was not 100% retaliatory for your email. 100%. They waited. How many days did you say you sent this email? Got no response from them? No response, and then all of a sudden they copyright claim 24 more fucking videos. So what, they just didn't see these 24 other videos that was on your channel? I really fucking doubt that. Somebody at fucking Nintendo saw this and just decided to go all in. It's so fucking disgusting.
From my channels. Most of them are modded content. A lot of them are Breath of the Wild. But not all of them are. This is key. They also claimed videos containing footage from Super Mario Odyssey, the Pokemon series, and Wii Sports Resort from my channel. The most surprising one, though, was a claim from one of my first videos back in 2019, marrying Sidon and a bookshelf to create Hyrule's first car. It's just a regular vanilla gameplay video of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, exactly. All of the content that they're trying to claim copyright to is all modded content. If you look at that list again, every single one of those videos talks about, you can see it in the title, talks about mods, talks about modding the original game. That's what they're after. That's what they're trying to claim on you. Again, an argument as old as fucking modding video games itself. The argument of whether or not it's legal or whether or not you have the right to change something that you have purchased, which, spoiler alert, you do. Now, the only thing I can think of for the first video that you're talking about, because it was a vanilla, I'm going to venture to guess that it was just some fucking idiot at Nintendo that didn't realize that this was completely vanilla and just went through as the titles, assumed this was more modded content, and then struck it. It was some type of modded content to do with Breath of the Wild, so go ahead and copyright strike it. Now, the other games that are not Breath of the Wild related, I'm not really sure. It seems like most of the content that they're trying to copyright strike was almost 90% Breath of the Wild. I'm not really sure what the correlation is there. However, if I had to guess, I'd say that they either just threw those in there just because fuck you, or they threw those in there on accident, just clicking through fucking copyright striking, just going on a spree, trying to fucking eliminate your channel from the face of the earth because you dare make content that shows off what you can do in a game that you own if you're capable of creating mods for it.
The belief I and many others had going into this video, seeing what he posted on Twitter, was that the reason they're striking these videos and taking down this Breath of the Wild content is because their upcoming game, Tears of the Kingdom, is right around the corner, and for some reason now they're going around fucking feeding knuckle sandwiches to anyone who's made Breath of the Wild videos, I guess, and they've always had a real thorn in their side about modding. That's just a rock in their shoe that makes them very upset that people mod their games in order to have more fun with them. They don't recognize that the people modding those games are literally their biggest fans and making a ton of content around it, which only helps spread the game further in a positive way. Point Crow's mods weren't malicious, he wasn't selling them or anything like that, and as you can see from what he just showed, it's not like they were only claiming modded videos. That video from 2019 is just vanilla gameplay. It's not fucking modded out the wazoo or anything. They just very much viewed him as some kind of bad guy and started blasting him as hard as they could. They fucking claimed the vanilla gameplay video of Breath of the Wild. That is so far into degeneracy. It's nuts. And the cat's out of the bag here, it's clearly not Tears of the Kingdom motivated because they also hit other videos from him that were on completely different games.
These takedowns aren't exclusive to my channel either. Over the course of the next couple days, Nintendo is taking down videos from other channels as well. Croton, another very prominent YouTuber, has had at least 10 live streams and 2 videos removed. Importantly, one of those videos is simply a challenge video, detailing how the game would be played if the player decided to explore Zelda, with certain restrictions the player has imposed on themselves. These takedowns may have started with modded content, but they have spiraled into something else entirely.
Yeah, they've spiraled into lunacy here.
Again, my best guess is that, yes, they are focusing on Breath of the Wild content, as the majority of what I have seen points towards that. The majority of what I have seen Nintendo go after is mostly Breath of the Wild content. However, I would not at all put it past them to just throw in extra videos whenever they fucking feel like it because they just think that they can. I do not think that this is just accidental or there's some hidden meaning behind any of this. I think it's just Nintendo being an inherently evil, pathetic fucking studio, a pathetic fucking company. I genuinely I don't think that there's any real reason behind any of it. Maybe you're onto something with the fact that this other game is now coming out here soon, and maybe in their twisted fucking minds, they think that somehow if there are mods that exist for this older game that make that game better and replayable, that somehow they're going to lose out money on selling this upcoming game. But that argument really holds no fucking weight, considering, for one, like I've said several times in this video so far, the topic of modding and the legality of it has already been well established in several different fucking court decisions. So that's just a non-issue right there. You already know, you have to know if you're Nintendo that is how it has happened. That they have full blessing from the legal system to be able to change features or whatever about a product that they have purchased. It is now theirs. And I know that Nintendo knows this because several of the lawsuits that have come to this conclusion are Nintendo lawsuits. Just like they tried to sue people for modifying consoles. And unless it's something that has been sold, then they can't. They have lost those legal battles as well. They're just doing this completely maliciously. This is just something Nintendo cannot stand, people making content or creating mods for their games. It really is just that fucking simple.
They're not just targeting modded content, though I don't think there's any real justification for what they've done, even if it was only modded content. Modded content isn't some affront to God for these companies. It is players modding your game and making content around it and just enjoying it even further. Now, maybe there are some mods that are bad news, but I promise you it's not the ones you're striking down from these YouTubers. It's just further wiping their own ass with their already awful reputation and staining it even further. But again, they don't care. Purchasing a Nintendo game honestly feels fucking horrible because you're buying something from a company that doesn't respect you and actually just fucking straight up hates you. It's like buying clothes from your high school bully. Like, damn, the clothes are fire. But god damn it, the person behind it hates me and literally spits on me every chance they get. Like, it just sucks. Like, Nintendo makes such bangers, but the company is just actual trash.
So now you know what's happening. At this time, my channel has had 29 videos taken down, 2 copyright strikes, and Nintendo does not seem to be stopping the removal of videos from other creators on YouTube. They've shown that they're striking down regular gameplay videos as well. It's sporadic, and their enforcement of their copyright is incredibly uneven. The thing is, without even considering fair use, all of these videos are very clearly in line with Nintendo's own game content guidelines for online video and image sharing platforms.
See, there's your first mistake, is actually expecting Nintendo to uphold anything that they tell you. Nintendo will give you guidelines on how to, quote unquote, appropriately do something, and then the moment that they feel like it, the moment that they don't want you to do that thing anymore, they'll just wipe their ass with whatever fucking terms they have set for you. They do not care. They have absolutely nothing but disdain for you and the entirety of the fan base that they have acquired over the years of making games. They basically fucking hate you, despite the fact that you and their community is what makes them a successful company. And I actually just do not understand it.
Nintendo is going Insano style right now, absolutely purging YouTube of all types of different content out of nowhere. Like, all of it's pretty nonsensical. It's not just modded content, it's actual just normal gameplay videos, like playing Breath of the Wild with like a challenge run and shit like that. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they start taking down speed runs or even just general walkthroughs. Like, it's absolute madness. It's chaos. And there's just no way of defending this behavior from Nintendo. Point Crow explains that all of this content fits within their own content policy, as well as, of course, being fair use. They state that they encourage creative input and commentary for content around their video games, as well as like Let's Plays, video game reviews, which it doesn't really seem like they are saying that with a smile on their face, considering they're now just taking down all of these videos that have creative input and commentary. The things that they highlight that they don't allow are the obvious things, right? Where it's just like, you know, full Nintendo trailers or all of their soundtrack and shit like that. Things that other companies also don't encourage either.
You might argue that modded content is in violation of these guidelines.
Sure, you could make that argument, but let me just be the first to say that if you are somebody who tries to make that argument, if you're one of those people who think that mods should be illegal, or that modding ruins the game, or whatever bullshit, batshit fucking crazy ideas you have in your head about mods, if you try to make the argument that this is the modding itself is grounds for copyright claims on YouTube, then you're a fucking idiot, and I'll be the first to fucking tell you. Modding is historically legal. when it comes to video games. It has been proven time and time again. And like I said earlier, by Nintendo's own fucking court cases. And you really can just break down the simplicity of the arguments in which prove that modding a video game is well within your rights. Because think about it this way, right? We'll break it down really, really, really simple. If you go up to, say, a hot dog vendor and they sell you a hot dog with only ketchup on it, but you want to throw some relish and mustard on that bitch, and you just suddenly can't because that's illegal. That's not how it was sold to you. Therefore, you cannot modify it. You eat it as is, or you don't fucking eat it. Doesn't that sound fucking ridiculous? How about you go and buy a new car, right? You buy a new car and a year down the road, you decide, I don't like this color. I don't want a yellow car. I want an orange car. Well, then you get sued by this company and told that you're not allowed to do that because it wasn't sold to you in that way. So therefore, you can't change it. You are stuck with the exact product that you have. You can make the same argument for a million different things. It really is that simple. You have purchased the product. That means you own it, and you are perfectly within your rights to change things about that product. Again, so long as you are not selling it for money, you are perfectly within your rights.
But historically, that's not the case. The terms of service for The Legend of Zelda says you cannot modify the game, but it also says that you cannot stream it, you cannot make videos of it, and you cannot otherwise broadcast it.
I love that Nintendo just thinks that they can slap on a bunch of rules to their terms of service for any product that they release and say that this is just the law of the land. Guess what? That's not how this works. You can't take something that is already completely legal and then go ahead and add some little subsection to your terms of service that state all of those completely legal activities. Well, on our product, you're not allowed to do that. That's not something you're actually legally capable of even doing. That is another thing that has been completely thrown out by courts time and time again. It's considered an unreasonable contract. It's considered something that you're already allowed to do, so therefore a company cannot then forbid you from doing that. It's not within their rights, it's not within their control to say, hey, you cannot stream, you cannot make content, and you cannot modify the game. That is breaking our terms of service. Sure, a company can then basically stop providing services to you. A company can, like, let's say with Nintendo, they could ban your online account. They could refuse to sell you games in the future. That's something that they could do. I'm not really sure how that would work out, especially considering you never really buy a game directly from Nintendo other than the online store. So like if you walk into a GameStop, you're not buying the game from Nintendo, you're buying the game from GameStop. So I'm not really sure how that would work, but that is something they could do. They can refuse to provide you with services anymore because you broke their previous terms of service. However, they cannot just state that this game shall not be streamed or YouTube videos made or whatever else modded. They can't just say that and expect it to be a new law. That's not how that works. And again, Nintendo, get fucked. You are such an evil fucking company.
Nintendo's game content guidelines changes this, though, by providing a license on top of the existing terms of service, which modifies the terms of service for content creators. All of the videos that they have taken down are in compliance with their own policies.
A lot of games in their terms of service actually have similar statements, such as like no making videos or streaming the game or anything like that. But like Point Crow mentions, there's extenuating circumstances. There's like an overarching branch of it where they do modify that for the content creators and content that is made around their products. Because obviously in this day and age, any game is going to be like streamed or have videos about it. So a lot of companies encourage it, and Nintendo claims they also encourage it. They even talk about like how touched they are when people make Nintendo focused videos, which is the biggest fucking lie ever told. Like, my god, what a fucking fib. No shot. Every video made on a Nintendo game makes them angry. I feel like they view that as lost dollars, potentially. Like, oh no, a potential customer may have seen this video and now they're never going to bother getting the game because they got the whole experience from watching this one guy play Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild by killing all of the trash mobs. No, and that we lost somebody. They've ruined us. Take them down. It's just something that has existed for a long time, right? No streaming the game, no making videos on it, but that's just not the way it's worked historically on the internet for a long time now. And Nintendo has understood that up until recently, where I guess they got hit by a fucking stupid beam and are now taking down videos again. Completely innocent ones.
In fact, what they've demonstrated here is that they will ignore their own policies and licenses to selectively enforce their intellectual property.
Yes, that is something that they have done here, and they have done time and time again in the past, and they will probably continue to do so because they're an evil, heartless fucking company that honestly doesn't deserve to exist. Nintendo should not be successful. Just being honest. Like, yes, they make amazing games, and that's the only reason that they live. Let's be real. A game company, if it was more of a niche game company that acted like this towards their community, then that company would have died out and gone bankrupt years and years ago. Unfortunately, the mass popularity of Nintendo games to everybody, like, everybody knows what Mario is. Everybody knows what Smash Bros is. You know, you're not. This isn't appealing to the more hardcore demographic of gamers. You know what I mean? This is not something that is the main population of people are seeing. They're not seeing how badly Nintendo treats the community. They're only seeing the new Mario game coming out or the new Zelda game coming out. That's all that they see. That's all they really care about. And fair enough to them. They're not required as consumers to care about the community or the ethics of the company. But the issue is that has allowed Nintendo to be so successful while practicing such horrendous policies like this. Because they know the vast majority of players, the vast majority of people consuming their products and making them money don't even know about how they're acting off the scenes, you know, off the big screen when they're not being scrutinized by mainstream media. You know, they're not seeing majority of people are not seeing these YouTube videos like this of creators possibly getting absolutely destroyed and their livelihoods taken away from them just because Nintendo fucking felt like it one day. The vast majority of people aren't seeing that, and Nintendo knows it, and that's one of the reasons that they are able to do this and still be successful. And again, it's fucking disgusting. But, like I've already stated several times over, you are completely within your legal capabilities. It does not matter what terms of service Nintendo tries to throw on to any new release that comes out. It doesn't matter what any game comes out and says you cannot stream or make video content or do video reviews or any of this bullshit. They aren't able to actually say that. It's basically a fictitious clause that they throw within their terms of service that doesn't even matter. You can just completely fucking ignore it. Because we have seen that clause brought up before and it been thrown out by the court that was examining it because they realized as the court that this is a common practice. This is a thing that you are completely legally within your rights to do, along with the legal rights that fair use gives you. It's something you're capable of doing, and a company cannot then limit that freedom to be able to create content based off those video games just because a gaming company doesn't want you to. They're not able to then police you. Like I said earlier, they could turn around and refuse future services to you based on your breach of terms of service by their book and their definition, even though, like you've already stated, by their own terms of service, you are within what you're supposed to be doing. They could no longer sell you games. They could remove your online access to their fucking store and whatnot. But that's really all they can do. They can't turn around and copyright strike you. They can't turn around and sue you because you breached their terms of service that is realistically not enforceable and not legally proper either. Again, I could be completely wrong on this. I'm pretty sure that from the court cases I've read into, that this is what they have decided in the courts so far. But I'm not a lawyer, so maybe I'm wrong.
So, if you've uploaded any video that features any Nintendo content, no matter how transformative or directly in line with their published guidelines, you are at risk. You mentioned in your content guidelines that you are humbled every day by the loyalty and passion for Nintendo's games, characters, and world, and respect that we want to be able to express ourselves creatively by sharing our own videos and images using content from your game. And if you truly respect us and are humbled by this community, don't take this creativity away from us.
Overall, I think it's an extremely strong video from Point Crow here, which once again highlights Nintendo's out-of-touch delusion, and it serves as a great open letter to the company that I have no doubt will go completely radio silent on. I don't think they're going to see it. I don't think they're going to care. They're going to most likely continue to take down completely innocent videos and maybe even whole channels that have covered Nintendo products or made Nintendo-focused content, all because they're just fucking evil. Like, I really don't know what it is anymore. This does nothing to help them. This just puts another blemish on their reputation. This doesn't get people excited for Tears of the Kingdom. This just makes more and more people afraid of Nintendo. And for a company that's supposed to be like all about family fun, I don't know why they want to be feared so badly, ruling their property with an iron fist and allowing no room for creativity or imagination in their worlds from the people that love them the most, like Point Crow mentions. It's just shit. It's just an actual pile of dog shit. And I wanted to talk about that. I'm wishing Point Crow the absolute best here, navigating these two strikes on his channel, because Nintendo is a fearsome foe. So I really am hoping for the best for him. He's a great guy, and Nintendo is anything but a great company. They're trash. That's really about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't foresee this message getting to anyone, and even if it did get to somebody within Nintendo, I can only imagine that that person would see the pain and annoyance that they have caused this YouTuber who the only crime they've committed is enjoying Nintendo games. I can only imagine that that Nintendo employee's only reaction to this will be that of absolute glee, seeing that they have possibly destroyed somebody's livelihood and ruined yet another person's love for their games. It's so fucking depressing to see things like this. But like I said, I don't think it's ever going to really quit, especially with somebody like Nintendo, who has a history of doing these things. Like every single fucking year or two, there's a new wave of Nintendo bullshit that happens. I mean, look, just what was it, a month ago? They went through and removed, issued a cease and desist for some Smash tournament hosts that I think Moist Critical is involved in some way. I think he has players involved in it or something. And that was essentially a group of hosts that have been doing this exact tournament for a while, and they just banned them basically for the next 2 years because they didn't have the proper licensing, as if that's something that's fucking required. It's so ridiculous. Like, that doesn't happen in any other community of competitive gaming. I've never seen it done in, like, Counter-Strike, for example. They're local and smaller tournaments. They're, like, tournaments that people have never even heard of, that kind of, like, are there for people to try and, like, get more of a competitive feel for the game and their, like, adventure of going pro in the game. You know, it's a stepping stone, basically. I've never heard of Valve just coming down from the fucking pile of money that Gaben lives under and just putting a stop to these random tournaments that have absolutely nothing to do with them and have no effect on them or their game. If anything, it's only a positive effect because it gets people more into the games that they are playing, that they're seeing being played at a high competitive level. So like I said, Nintendo just doesn't care. They just don't. They're never going to. I think they do this purely out of spite, and I don't think it's going to ever realistically end, especially with Nintendo. I think the only thing that could possibly make this type of shit no longer an issue is either Nintendo gets just slapped with a massive fucking lawsuit I hope there's like a class action lawsuit on all the people that Nintendo have falsely copyright striked or taken videos down or caused demonetization for over the past like 15 years that they've been doing it. I hope there's just this massive class action lawsuit that costs them millions and millions of dollars. That's the only thing that they'll respond to is a loss of money. It's the only thing that they fucking care about. Or the second option is that YouTube actually does something for their content creators for a change. Like I said, I understand that there's no realistic way in which YouTube could protect every single YouTuber, every single content creator on the platform. It's too fucking big. It's just not realistic. But when you're talking about a reasonably sized channel going up against a fucking massive game development entity like Nintendo, you would think that would maybe raise some alarms and eyebrows over at YouTube, sorry, but it doesn't. YouTube just, oh, yep, yeah, copyright. Okay, yeah, you guys go ahead and figure it out. We're gonna just sit back in the corner and watch. Like YouTube could step in and defend its content creators, and they could actually manually review these videos and see that there is absolutely no copyright infringement, and these videos fall under not only Nintendo's guidelines but the fair use guidelines. They could see that and revert this and tell Nintendo to go fuck themselves, but that's not going to happen either. That's just not realistic because, again, people unfortunately like him are just stuck between these two industry titans that don't give a fuck about the little people that make up their communities. And that's honestly just the sad truth of it. In the end of the day, fuck Nintendo. To everybody else who is watching this, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you also absolutely despise Nintendo as a company, not their games. But I hope everybody enjoyed, and I will catch you all in the next one.